The helicopter circulates above the historic Maggiora circuit here for round 9 of the FIM MX1 Motocross World Championship, the Italian Grand Prix. 24 degrees out on a circuit, as you can see. Pretty humid out there as well, as the riders know. Not a lot of wind. There's MX1 prepared to do battle. They're out on their sighting lap. The iconic circuit of Maggiora, then the venue for round 9 of the FIM MX1 Motocross World Championship. The first ever Grand Prix was back in 1966 with Paul Friedrichs winning on a 500cc CZ. We've only ever had 6 Grand Prix here, the last of which in 1999 was a 250 Grand Prix, which was won by Pit Byra on a Kawasaki. And there's a guy alongside me, we'll talk to in a moment, who was probably racing that day, actually. I'm not sure, we'll have to get that verified. But we've had 3 Italian winners, one of them in this category, of course, Andrea Bartolini in 1995. But this weekend, it's round 9 of the FIM Motocross World Championship. This is the Italian Grand Prix. The stage is set for one of the biggest Grand Prix of the year at Maggiora. We're back at this historic venue, of course, made famous by the 1986 Motocross des Nations. Quick look at the circuit. If you're joining us for the first time, Intermediate 1 takes us to the bottom of the horseshoe. Then the blue section over Amara's Leap, and then dropping down from the modal step down back towards the finish. That's the 3rd sector, in case we start talking about how... Right, here's Amy anyway.
I've just snuck in here on the MX1 start line to have a quick word with Billy McKenzie. Pretty hot out there today, right?
Yeah, it's scorching out there. That's why sitting in the shade before the race. It's going to be a hot race, a hot long race. It's going to be intense. The track's real tight and a lot of downhills. It's hard on your arms and stuff, so rest is important right now.
And you're in for the injured Stephen Frossard. How are you finding it on the factory Yamaha?
Yeah, it's cool. I raced for the Yamaha team over in Australia, so it was an easy transaction. And all the Yamaha teams work really close together, so you know, getting our settings sent over, it was super easy. Riding for Rinaldi's been something that I'd love to do, like back in my younger days. So to get the opportunity to come here and race at Maggiora especially was a dream come true. So it took me, it gave me a little bit of bike time on what was supposed to be a holiday, but I'm enjoying every moment so far.
And is this a 1 GP special, or can we see you at any more?
At the moment, it's just one. I guess we'll see how my result is, but I just want to have a good race. Maybe 2 top 10s I'll be really happy with. Leave here safe and carry on with the Australian Championship.
Thanks, Billy. That's all from me.
I need to say hello to my friends, little kids who are sitting at home, Danny and Frankie. Hey, guys.
Hello. That's all from us down here on the start line.
Casa Pesarese, Gastone, che emozione.
Grandi ricordi, rimane sempre nel cuore Alessandro.
Well, before MX2 race 1, Alessandro Pusar, a 2-time Italian world champion, took to the circuit on a 4-stroke TM, of course a bike that he rode later on in his career as well, to do a lap of a circuit he knows very, very well, riding Masters Motocross Race Series here, and of course big races. One of the Watch for Live, Giuseppe Luongo, actually, a guy who joins me now, Talon Voland. I know you're working with Acerbis back in the US, where you're from, but you spent a lot of time living out in Italy, racing circuits like this. And Talon Voland, good to see you here this weekend. Guess you're here on business initially?
Yeah, it was like a perfect combination. I come once a year for, budgets and meetings and that kind of thing. And with having the Italian GP here, it worked out perfectly. And to get back, the last time I was here was '95, and I have to mention that I did win the last moto, so I love this circuit. It's always good to come back to a circuit where you had some success, and I love it.
I mean, I rode here in '97 in the 125 Grand Prix, but the circuit obviously a little bit different. today than what it was back then. The
Yep.
first half that we see on this side here,
Yep.
and the part of the midsection dropping down the modal step down, that looks pretty similar.
Yep.
But then it's the last part, isn't it? They seem to use more of the hillside, and the finish line area is different in how they used to run back onto the start straight.
That's right, yeah. General layout is the same, so direction is the same, still have all the hills in, but there are a few more tighter corners, making for some very tight racing today, as you saw in that first MX1 race. So very excited to look forward to this MX2, so we'll look forward to this MX1 and see what's going on with these guys.
Obviously, you've just arrived, Wednesday, Thursday from the US, a little bit of jet lag, but nothing like a great atmosphere like this and a bit of weather, is it, to take that off your mind?
Yeah, and unlike a couple Italian cappuccinos keep you going all day long, and you know, it's hard to be tired now when you have so many thousands of people, and just great racing. It's still a pleasure and a joy to watch these guys race.
Obviously, you're based in the US, work for Cherbis, Italian company in the US. And we'll talk about that in just a moment. We'll just soak up this atmosphere for now. Talon Voland with me from Cherbis, former Grand Prix rider, winner of the second moto here in the 95 250 Grand Prix, which was won by the Italian Andrea Bartolini, who you would have known and raced with on a number of occasions. But the atmosphere really starting to build here. But obviously, you spend a lot of time in the US now. You live there, you work for Cherbis out there, and the crowd here and the atmosphere, how is that compared to like an AMA Outdoor National or something like that?
You know, it's not only here in Italy, it's all of Europe. The fans are just different. They're a little more passionate. They get more, you know, rider orientated. They'll pick their riders. As you see, some of these guys all have the 222 up Carioli, and you know, just it's a little different passion, but it's amazing actually over here. And you know, I think our guys too look forward to coming over for the D Nations, because it's something different than we have over there as far as the people screaming around the track and running the horns and everywhere when you go.
What are your best memories of riding places like this when you were racing the World Championship?
Well, there was quite a few tracks, but it's just, you know, again, all these great fans in Europe is just so fun.
A quick look at the starting list. Of course, it was Gauthier Paulin who won the qualifying race yesterday from Tommy Searle, Kenda Dijker, Max Nagel, and Xavier Borg with Guarnieri, Cairoli, Bobachev, Van Horbeke, and Commander Sal rounding out the top 10. You watched the qualifying race yesterday. What are your impressions?
Wow, you know, what you think's going to happen and what happens when you race are two different things, and it was pretty crazy in the MX1 yesterday. So, you know, I look forward to seeing what's going to happen today. It seems like on this particular track, the way it's laid out, that I don't think it's going to be a runaway race today. No way.
So, Gauthier Paulin, he will start today's race from pole position after starting that in 5th place. Found a way past the number 11 of Billy McKenzie, the 121 of Xavier Borg, the 19 of David Philipparts when he crashed, and it was a big crash as well. If we get the camera down there on his face, you'll see what I mean. It looked like he'd done a few rounds with Mike Tyson.
Yeah, I saw that.
But he eventually found a way past Tommy Searle with a couple of laps to go, so it was a Kawasaki 1-2. And Dijker coming home 3rd on the Red Bull KTM. Tony Cairoli, though, he's the big draw here this weekend. He's going to have a lot of fans. I won't say he's got a lot of pressure because he's used to dealing with that, isn't he, Talon Voland?
Yeah, that's it. You know, it's tough out there, and to be honest, I always kind of hated my home race because there's just so many things you got to do and so many pit passes and all that stuff you got to organize. So yeah, it's tough to stay focused. So, you know, but he's a champion, so we will see what he can pull.
Of course, we look forward to see his performance today. The crowd are getting into it here as MX1 Race 1 about to get underway. Round 9 of the FIM MX1 Motocross World Championship. Gauthier Paulin will start from pole from Tommy Searle, Kenda Dijker. Max Nagel will be 4th on the Honda World Motocross machine with Xavier Borg 5th. Guarnieri, number 39, the Italian, riding a 1986 designed KTM retro-looking bike. And of course, David Philipparts, who failed to finish yesterday, similar graphics on his 2013 450 Honda, looking back to the 86 colours of the Motocross des Nations. 15-second board drops, the 5-second board goes up. Paulin, Tommy Searle, nearest the camera, Kenda Dijker alongside them, number 9. It's going to be a drag race. Look for Tony Cairoli, 7 gates out. And he sweeps across. It's going to be difficult to see if he hit the stripe first, but it's water through there. Guarnieri's back end was all over the place as he went through the two waves. Nagel also, number 12, having a few problems going through the first couple of corners, but at the top of the hill, Tony Cairoli from Commander Sal, Ken de Dijker, Bobachef and Kevin Strybos as they reach the top of the hill for the first time and then drop down the other side. Freshly watered down there as well, as you saw the back end of Guarnieri once again sliding out of control. Looking at the old school style, can't mention the brand, but the number 39 retro bib. That's all printed into the jersey of Davide Guarnieri.
It is. Really. He did do a great job yesterday, so let's see what he can do here today in the main event.
But Tony Cairoli in the orange boots, a new design, a new look for him this weekend. New helmet as well. He's got the Italian flag etched into the helmet pads on that aero helmet, but you see how much water's gone on the circuit. Talon Boland joins me. We're on the backside of the circuit. Long sweeping off camber through here. It's slippery anyway. They've just added a whole load of water.
Yeah, it looks like these guys are being a little careful on this first lap. I think that's what you need to do.
Hard and slick coming out of the turn there. See how it is, and quite choppy. Gauthier Paulin buried down in the pack.
Yeah.
Not a good start, so the qualifying race just goes to show yesterday. No points for that as we're on board with Paulin. Very, very close. Too close to call for him, actually, as he looks to go after the rest of the guys. Yeah. Look and see who it was. Rui Gonçalves? No, Xavier Borg, actually.
Yeah, after I watched this track, I wanted to race, but after that shot there of being on the bike, I feel like I was riding. I just wanted to retire again.
Down the inside of Tommy Searle. Gauthier Paulin making light work as he drops it in across the Brit, Tommy Searle. Searle not able to get over the finish line jump, so a couple of positions in, half a lap for Gauthier Paulin. He goes after Davide Guarnieri, so at the end of the first lap, it's Cairoli, de Sal, de Dijker, Strybos, Van Horbik, Guarnieri, Paulin, Searle. That's him there, number 100 in 8th place. Xavier Borg, Max Nagel in 10th, Mattis Caro 11th, Gonçalves 12th, Simpson, Potterzek, Billy McKenzie in 15th on the Monster Energy Yamaha from the STR KTM of Jonathan Barrigan, Bobrashev, Ulrich, Philipparts in 19th, and Stefano Dami, the wildcard, in 20th place. Just gives you some idea as they drop downhill, the holes, the bumps, the ruts that the riders are facing. Back on board with Paul Andlock, number 21. See what happens, see where he lost his time. Well, certainly going to get squeezed by de Dijker. Number 9. Oh, rocks coming up, flying up as well. And then Slick coming through the next part. Riders down at the bottom of the hill here, or in the top? At the top, that's Bobrashev. So Bobrashev, here's luck, not improving at the early stages of moto number 1. Tony Cairoli, that's a nasty kicker.
Yeah.
Dropping into there, Talon Voland. Obviously, when you race this track, the ground, obviously, is one of the features here, isn't it? A lot of crowning rock, it's hard, it's slick, off camber's choppy. It's a gnarly place to deal with, isn't it?
It is. It's really tough. You know, these guys are all professionals out there, but, you know, when they throw water on this, too, it's something you got to be really, really careful about, you know, especially in Italy with these hard-packed tracks. So these guys are all doing a good job, and wants to see what goes on here with de Sal. You know, yesterday he looked fast to me, didn't get a good start, but we'll see what he can do in this first race here.
Well, Gauthier Paulin has found a way past Davide Guarnieri, and Tommy Searle looking to go around the 121 Ice Racing KTM of Xavier Borg and squeeze him to the outside just to set himself up nicely for the finish line jump. So it's Cairoli, de Sal second. They're about 1.5 seconds apart, but it's de Sal, fastest man on track at the moment, as he looks to close in on the 6-time world champion and current series leader. De Dijker losing a little bit of ground in 3rd place, about 1.5 seconds that time around from Strybos, Van Horbik, Paulin, Guarnieri. Although Searle now in 8th place ahead of Xavier Borg and Max Nagel. There is Nagel in the background in the red helmet, the Honda World Motocross rider. Tight at the top of that corner, then dropping down. There were some horrible holes down here yesterday. Talon Voland catching 1 or 2 riders out and then dropping down into the deep rut there, Tommy Searle. But that's always been a feature, hasn't it? You know,
it is.
Oh, bar to bar for Tommy Searle and Guarnieri, giving each other absolutely no room as they head up over O'Mara's.
Yeah, you know, those corners are classic. I mean, those are the exact same corners that we raced on, and even in '86. So, and they haven't changed. They just get deeper and ruddier, and you eventually got to change the lines.
Oh, Cairoli goes down. He loses the front end. Was just about to say he just needs to pick himself up. There's a horrible kicker going into there, but he didn't catch it. Right. Just wondering whether he just hit a slick patch, lost the front and went down. So the championship leader, he goes down, opens the way for number 25, Commander Sal, who definitely needs a good break in the World Championship campaign at the moment. De Sal, who's 3rd in the championship, and he won the opening moto in Qatar. And he's been on the podium a bunch of times, so he has been consistent, but just consistently second or third. So a good 25 points for the number 25 Rockstar Energy Suzuki rider would be a massive boost in confidence to the Belgian.
Yeah, we still got a long race. Looks like Carrioli got back up in
Tommy
fourth.
Searle and Guarnieri gone down just before the step down. Those two have got into each other. I won't be surprised if it was Guarnieri coming up the inside of Searle, who gets himself going again. But they've lost a lot of positions.
Yeah, that hurts you. He was having a good race too.
Tommy Searle just dropping into the final corner now, ahead of, where is he? He's in the points? Yeah, 17. So this is Cairoli. Yeah, it's wet, it's slick. Front end, we just don't see it, just leaves as it there. Look, starts to fold. He tried to stick a leg out to prop himself up, but good thing about those KTM 350s though, electric start. Yeah, Guarnieri getting into Tommy Searle, as we expected. Rocks in the elbows, not a good combination. That just highlights, doesn't it, the actual conditions of the ground here.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, how loose, how slick, and how much these guys are fighting for traction every inch of the way.
That's right. Yeah, I felt like Tommy looked like he was a little bit mad there, but he's got to get back on his bike, get back in the race.
So Gauthier Paulin then, we're on board with him. And Paulin in 6th place, going after his teammate, Jeremy Van Hoorbeek. So two Kawasaki fracture riders. Good to see a great crowd here. Good to see number 22, Kevin Strybus up there. He's in 3rd at the moment. So we've got the Rockstar Energy Suzuki's 1st and 3rd. 2 Belgians, in fact 3 Belgians if you make it the Red Bull KTM and Didika, who squeezed in between them in 2nd position. Cairoli remounted in 4th, so he didn't lose too much time, but he has lost potential points in terms of the championship. Good job, he's got a big lead because 56 ahead of Paulin before he came here. And Paulin for him, good news for Cairoli is that he's still behind him by 2 positions, down in 6th place. Didika, Speedway style, down the start straight as he tries to go after DeSalle. He would love to win a moto here in Majora. The big friendly giant, Ken Didika, heads uphill. Crowd hanging over the fence like an old school traditional Grand Prix circuit. That's what we used to get, wasn't it, back in the day, Tannenwollen? Fans throwing everything at you from the right from the fencing there.
Yeah, it's great. I love to see all these huge flags hanging out too. It's pretty cool. Makes it fun for for the riders out there racing as well.
Tony Cairoli remounts in 4th position, going after the number 22 of Kevin Strybus. Strybus doing his best to get himself on a podium here. The guy who's 5th place in the championship has only picked up 3 podium race finishes. 1 in the Netherlands in Moto number 2, 1 in the first Moto in Bulgaria in Sevlievo, and the last one in the second Moto in Brazil. Yeah. So he's due another good performance here this weekend, but Tony Cairoli, this guy here, 222, not going to make it easy for him. Interesting to see the line he's using there, Volan, because he's running it down the inside. It's hard and slick and wet. Yet the dry line is around the outside. You know, clearly the quickest line, the safest line at the moment.
Right, and that's it. That's where you got to be attention. That's still a long moto. We got 26 minutes to go. So yeah, you just want to keep this thing on 2 wheels and see how it plays out a little bit later.
I mean, the organizer's doing a great job anyway, keeping the dust factor down and keeping it as rideable as possible, because we do have high temperatures here, touching 30 degrees as we know, but it's just good to be back here anyway, isn't it? As you know.
Man, I was so happy when they were throwing this race, and it worked out perfectly for me to come back and now being involved. And this is I love it. I'm loving it.
Over the line for the fourth time then, Kamada South. 4.5 seconds clear of Ken Didika. Kevin Strybus here in 3rd, got his hands full with the Red Bull KTM and Tony Cairoli, who's being urged on every step of the way around this Maggiora circuit. He would love to win here, come in here for the first time. He would have heard a lot about it. The legend of this of the sport, riding one of the most iconic venues, and it would only be fitting for him to win it. But none of these MX1 guys are going to make it easy for him, as Jeremy Van Hoorbeek and Gauthier Paulin also closing in now. So Strybus leaves the door open. Crowd go wild like the Italian team have just scored a goal as Cairoli sails through into 3rd place. He had to make that move happen right there because the Kawasaki's Van Hoorbeek and Paulin are starting to close in as well. This is his opportunity, Tannenwollen, to break free and close down to Didika, his teammate, in 2nd.
He does need to. I was looking here at the times. It looks like DeSalle's down in the 45, so he's definitely got some good lines out there. So, but again, the race is long and a lot of things can happen. We'll see if Carrion can start putting the lines together and closing in.
Yeah, Van Hoorbeek up the inside there of fellow countryman Kevin Strybus. Not saying he's hit a wall there, but just been rattled the last couple of laps there, maybe with Cairoli just behind him. Just broke the concentration a little bit because these guys have caught him in pretty quick succession. Gauthier Paulin queuing up just behind him as well in the background there. So Strybos just feeling the pressure maybe as we cruise around lap 5 here. Hard and slick on the corner tabletop. It's very slippery. And again, off camber crew there, falling from right to left.
This is a really tough track, a lot of different obstacles on it.
In terms of, obviously, you spend a lot of time in the US. I get a lot of tracks in a similar condition to this, do you? Or do you?
You know, I mean,
ready outside of Strybos.
There's all different kinds of tracks, and you know, it's kind of the same around everywhere. I mean, good riders are good riders, and they'll make it happen. And but this, you know, for me, on this track is classic, and these corners.
But in just terms of in the nature of the ground, you know, like the American tracks, you know, they can rotate them and everything else. I don't recall seeing too many, nice from Paulin, sort of rock tracks where there's rocks poking through the surface and that kind of thing. I might be wrong.
Yeah, there's one Binghamton that's like that, but I'll tell you, you know, the huge difference between America and Europe is really the sand tracks you guys have up in Belgium. We have really nothing like that, so it's very, it's more tough for the Americans when they come over for those kind of tracks.
Yeah. There was a lot of talk about a Motocross Nations possibly coming back here in a few years' time.
Oh man.
You know, that'll be a big occasion in itself, wasn't it? I mean, you look around and see the spectator scope and all the facilities, because none of these facilities were here when you were here last.
No, and, you know, they've done a great job. It's with a new swim pool up on the hill and the whole tower that they built there. It's amazing. And I love seeing that the tracks are coming back. To me, it feels like economy and racing and motorcycles in general are getting stronger and stronger.
What's your role actually at Cherbis in America?
I'm sales manager of Cherbis USA, so I run basically the whole USA. I have 3 other employees, so we all work together as a team, and things are going quite well. It's definitely getting better in the U.S., and I see the economy and bikes and things turning, so it's in a good way.
And who are the guys that you're rooting for this weekend that are using your plastics this weekend? Pretty much everybody?
Yeah, well, we have Tommy Steele out there with the gear, and Cherbis has been great. We are involved, as you see, with the track markers on this track. We needed to be, and we wanted to be involved with such a great event, especially here in Italy. And then, you know, in the U.S., we have some of our riders, Dungy and Villapoto, which are involved with Cherbis USA. So we're trying to cover the ground as best as we can and promote the product and also learn from these guys that race with the product.
Well, one rider trying to cover the ground here is number 24, Sean Simpson on the Ritchie Racing TM, going after number 11. Fellow Scot, actually, Billy McKenzie riding a Monster Energy Yamaha this weekend for Michele Rinaldi. Got about a month break from the Australian Championship. How's McKenzie here, number 11? And he is there in 10th place at the moment.
Yeah, he's getting up. He said that was his goal, top 10. So he's already moved up 5 positions. He's still got 21 minutes left.
Yeah, I had a good conversation with him actually at the Yamaha launch last night. And as Rui Gonçalves closes in on Sean Simpson, he's got to go wide to get over that double coming out of the first turn. But it was obviously paid off there from Rui Gonçalves, and Guarneri back on the case here, going after the Portuguese rider as well. Billy McKenzie was saying, yeah, there's nothing for 4 weeks in Australia. So rather than sitting around taking a holiday and you know, laying on the beach, wanted to just come back to Europe, and if he could get some race time on the bike, he's been able to ride at Michele's place for a little bit this week and try to get that bike set up as Simpson goes after McKenzie coming out of the horseshoe and drops around the inside of him as well at the bottom of the hill. And I guess from Billy McKenzie's point of view, it's not a championship he has to do well in here. Like he said, time on the bike. He's got, you know, a bigger series to worry about at home in Australia.
That's right, but I think it's a great opportunity for him on the Monster Energy Yamaha there to really get to feel what the factory bike is. Rinaldi always has one of the very best bikes in the world, so it's probably a good chance for him to really show what he can do on a great bike.
Max Nagel just easily sliding up the inside, a little bit of back and forth action, squaring off the turns, old school style. The German will love this. He commented yesterday that he liked the track, it was fun, it was nice, and hopefully we'll get some good starts. But he also said that they made some changes that he thought would get him out of the starts, but he was disappointed not to have made the start yesterday. I'm guessing after he said he was going to think long and hard last night before making any changes, whether he actually made any changes to get, you know, the best out of it this morning in this MX1 race. He's now up in the 6th place, but Gauthier Paulin 5 seconds clear. That's a big margin to one of the best guys in MX1 at the moment.
Yeah, it's tough. I'll tell you, just looking at this track, boy, you know, I thought it was going to be easy for the guys. Not easy, but a tight racing, but it is really getting rough. So it's really starting to separate these guys out. The guys that are strong, can last in this heat, are going to keep moving forward.
When we talk about heat, you know, coming from the US, people say the heat and everything else, different kind of heat, isn't it? here compared to there, or?
Yeah, you know, it was. And I haven't been here so long, you know, living in Europe. It's really quite humid here, so you really do feel the heat, even if it's not physically numbers as hot. But boy, it's hard to get that heat out of your body. It's tough. But, you know, motocross is tough in general. You got to be in good shape. It's one of the toughest sports in the world.
Simpson, 24 at the bottom of the hill. He's in 10th place. McKenzie behind him in 11th. Ruud Gonçalves, number 999 in 12th on the Ice One Racing KTM. Nice little move up the inside. Philipparts and Guarnieri, the two retro bikes, going at it side by side, and Philipparts just getting the better as he slides around the outside of the KTM of Guarnieri, number 39, and steals a position, goes 13th. Didn't think he'd be riding after I saw his crash yesterday down the hill in the background. He ended up right in the bottom of the hill, and his face down on one side, just really black and blue. Spoke to him this morning. He's got a broken nose as well in the equation.
Yeah, and you know, you hit your head that hard. I've done that before, and it makes a tough weekend, but you know what? You got to go out there and get your points as many as you can and move on to the next race.
Interesting battle. Guarnieri trying to go back up the inside of the Honda rider. And Billy McKenzie just getting offline and slides into the rear wheel of number 19, Philipparts. So Philipparts now just looking to find a way past the Scot. The rider in blue on the Yamaha. Right, Guarnieri really square off again and have a Tommy Searle moment.
Wow.
Well, Philipparts certainly did, but kept it clean. McKenzie realizes that the stronger guys are coming through, and that's something else. McKenzie not riding 40-minute motos in Australia. So, as he said, just bike time, the experience, riding for Michele Rinaldi, Monster Energy Yamaha here in Europe at one of these tracks, just couldn't turn it down, really.
Yeah, and I think, too, you know, he's been around a long time. He knows these guys are battling for the championship. You know, you want to race hard, but you don't want to do any silly stuff to take out a guy that's a contender.
And just moving on. Oh, no! Philipparts goes down. Did you see the start yesterday between him and the Russian?
Yes,
Bobryshev.
That's right.
Bobryshev doubled on the first lap, caught the bales, turned left, sideswiped Philipparts, who managed to stay up. But Bobryshev went down and looked worse in the replays, actually. But Philipparts going down in that third corner.
That just makes a tough weekend get tougher.
This was these two going at it just half a lap ago.
Those ruts are deep there.
And it's so steep up there as well, you don't realize how steep that is. Philipparts just eventually sliding around the outside of Guarnieri, and then just got on the power. That was close. And then just losing the front end. Look, the back end just bounced offline and went down. Fans here, look at the crowd reactions.
Hey, he had to work so hard to get by Guarnieri, and now he's got to go again.
And he knows that. He knows that. Well, Talavono, I'm sure you've had moments like that, as I have.
Yeah.
They're not great moments. Gauthier Paulin over the Monster Energy finish line. He's in 5th place. The Kawasaki factory rider 3 seconds down on Jeremy Van Hoorbeek, his teammate, who actually doing a good job of keeping that gap consistent as he doubles his way into turn 2. But it's still Commander South, 8.3 seconds clear. Well, we said he needed a break, and he's probably just finally got one. Didika, Rebel KTM here, dropping downhill in 2nd. And Tony Cairoli 5 seconds further back in 3rd. Van Hoorbeek is 4th, Paulin 5th, with Nagel, Strybos, Borg, Caro, and Simpson rounding out the top 10.
Yeah.
Just over 16 minutes remain, plus 2 laps. Tony Cairoli in 3rd, not really having an answer at the moment. Talon Boland to the guys ahead of him, despite only making a small mistake early on in the race.
Yeah, you know, I'm looking at the lap times here, Val. Now, he's busted down in the 45s. I don't know if DeSalle had a bad one in the 47, so it could get interesting here in the last 5 minutes.
And this is where Tony Cairoli really comes into his own. He knows that he hasn't got to panic here, ride over himself and make mistakes and cost himself more time. If he's getting the board signal that he's 1 or 2 seconds clear, in his own mind, he's already doing the calculation, saying, right, okay, Philipparts out. So if he's sitting there saying, you know, I've got that time to do that, he's just so distraught, isn't he?
Yeah, that's a bummer, man. I think both me and you've been there. It's a tough one, you know. He was already having a tough weekend. You just want to try to get through and move on, but they just could not get it together. Whoa, that track is getting rough, I'll tell you.
That was a big moment. That's where Philipparts crashed yesterday, and that would have been a heart-to-mouth moment for Cairoli. But yeah, you know, Cairoli, we've seen it on more than one occasion where suddenly second half of the moto, he just pulls the pin, and second half, 2 seconds left. There's the face all covered up. Yeah, that was after the crash yesterday. Not sure what he wants to do. He wants to continue. The Italian heart is saying continue, but the head, the body is probably just saying, look, you know, call it a day, maybe.
Yeah, sometimes when you're out of the points, you know, it's better just get ready for the second moto.
Yeah. So, Clement Sal doing a good job leading everybody here. Nicely over O'Mara's. Dropping down. He's got a nice, effective, economical riding style, hasn't he?
He does. I saw him. He was over in the States on a couple of the weeks off there, and boy, he's an amazing rider. He's a lot of talent.
But just obviously had to hit the ground running by dropping off the plane from Brazil to get there. Kenda Dyker, Red Bull KTM, continues in second position. MX1, race 1 here, the 9th round of the FIM MX1 Motocross World Championship. We're at Maggiora for the Italian Grand Prix, Northern Italy. He got a good start and decapitalized, as did Clement Sal, when Tony Cairoli fell just in that left-hander in the background, just below the motor tabletop jump. Early on in the race, Tony Cairoli since then has been trying to pick his way back through the field. He's now in 3rd position. He's 5 seconds down on Kenda Dyker, but last time around he was in the 46 zone, and Dyker was 47th, but he's about the same speed as Clement Sal, who he is, what, about 14 seconds behind. Here's Jeremy Van Hoorbeek. He's in 4th place, comes over the line now. So yeah, Tony Cairoli 14 seconds down on the Sal, but 4 seconds further back of Kenda Dyker in 2nd. This is Gauthier Paulin. He's closed right in on his teammate now, Jeremy Van Hoorbeek, but again, just leaving it a little bit too late, possibly. He's given Tony Cairoli just a little bit too much free rein on that leash by giving him an advantage coming out of the start. Gauthier Paulin won't be happy about that. He had a great Grand Prix in France last week, winning the first moto. Those two having one of the races of the year so far. I'm not sure if you were able to watch that anywhere, Talon Boland.
Yeah, I didn't see that. I've been reading about it.
Cairoli down again. Plays nicely into the hands of Gauthier Paulin. So suddenly then we've got a race on again that might replicate what happened a week ago. It's going to get interesting here. The fans are going to want Cairoli to get past the Kawasaki rider. Suddenly, the pressure is on both these guys to perform now.
Yeah, that's it. You know, that's why you race. There's so many things that can happen out there. So yeah, this is interesting having these two championship contenders right together.
See what happens. Well, we just saw the replay there. So the back end, I'm guessing, just got out of the rut early. Came around on him, handful of gas. On board with Gauthier Paulin. You see Tony Cairoli as well on the wide shot. Just look over to see Kawasaki go by, number 1, Kawasaki number 2 go by, Gauthier Paulin. And he was thinking, man, that's my challenger. Oh, nicely done, but almost crashes on the downside. Scrubbing his way down the motor step down as well. Gauthier Paulin's going to square off his teammate here, run it up the inside. Not sure if Van Hoorbeek knows he's there. He will now. He'll just wave him by and do his best to hold off Tony Cairoli, who he knows is there behind him. So suddenly, there's a couple of points pulled back here for Gauthier Paulin. He'll come over the line in 3rd place. So suddenly going from 5th to 3rd in the space of a lap, that is what you call a bonus, isn't it, Talon?
Yeah, he's definitely got some momentum right now. You can see the energy in his body. He's going for it. So see if Cairoli's going to react and what happens here.
And the thing is, Gauthier Paulin was just thinking maybe Tony Cairoli going to be too close, you know, too far away to do anything about. Yeah. And suddenly, he's, like you say, the body language now has changed because Paulin has said, right, I'm past him. Let me just crack on and see if I can pass Kenda Dyker. Let's see if I can close him down and pull another couple more points back.
Yep, that's exactly what he's working on.
25 points for a win. That's to Sal at the moment. And to Dyker on 22. Just watch the scrub and then the landing here. He was so close to go. Look, the foot is already off the peg. 45 degrees as he lands here. This was a pass, though. Up the inside. Yeah, he took a look over. And easily through in the end for 21, Gauthier Paulin. So yeah, it's going to be 25 points for De Sal at the moment, 22 for De Dyker, 18 for Paulin, 16 for Van Hoorbeek, 15 for Cairoli. So there's going to be 3 points pulled back there from Gauthier Paulin as Jonathan Barrigan on the STR KTM goes out. Just down on pit lane as well, so hasn't got too far to push that bike back.
Yeah, see, it looks like something's, yeah, it's steaming there. That don't look good.
No, pipe split there or something like that maybe. But Paulin certainly trying to pull away from Van Hoorbeek, and he'll be aware of the fact, well, Jeremy Van Hoorbeek, that Cairoli is there behind him. He'll try and help out his teammate as much as possible. He was a Red Bull KTM rider last year, remember, in MX2. So I'm sure he'll have some kind of friendship with Tony Cairoli, but this is business. This is going to be a great atmosphere out on the circuit now because they want to get behind Cairoli as best they can. DeSalle having a quiet time of it at the head of the field, though. Not, you know, 9 seconds clear everybody else. So 8 seconds a gap between De Dijker and Paulhan. The lap times there, 46 for De Dijker, 47 for Paulhan. So De Dijker weathering that storm at the moment, keeping Paulhan at bay. Tony Cairoli would have been frustrated at that mistake. That's 2 simple mistakes for him. The front end going in one corner and the rear halfway through the race. So he'll be talking to the mechanics afterwards, but just rider error. That's all you can put that down to, isn't it, Talon Volvi?
Yeah, you know, I don't know. It's just, you know, there's a lot of fans here. It's always tough to do your home race, and you know, fortunately, it's not very big crashes. I know that Cairoli's very smart, so I'm sure he'll do what he can and what he needs to do. But it's definitely good for Poland at the moment.
Just see how you can follow us, MXGP. Got them on the screen just a moment ago. I've got the live studio show coming at 2:15 today. We'll be on the podium. I'll have Mel Pocock, the Monster Energy Yamaha rider. Max Nagel, the Honda World Motocross rider, who's currently 6th in this MX1 race at the moment. We'll have Eric DeBoers as well, the team manager for Rockstar Energy Suzuki, joining me in that 30-minute show. Directly, well, 15 minutes after the finish of this race. Be interesting to hear what those guys have to say. But Van Horbeek, hands full at the moment with the orange KTM of Tony Cairoli.
And these guys are all riding so good, it's tough to make any time right now. I see Cairoli starting to ride some different lines in the guys, so they try to put something together.
That's the thing, you know, the race line gets very bumpy. Nice how they wheelie over those these bumps about halfway down, just past the second board there. Certainly closed up this time on Van Horbeek, who looked like he made a mistake coming out of that final corner, was a little bit hesitant getting on the gas as he went through there on the outside. 450 versus 350. The debate continues, but Cairoli seems to make that one work. But obviously, wasn't a success in the US, was it, when Dungey rode it and when Andrew Short rode it?
Yeah,
well,
I think
actually, Dungey never rode it, did he?
Yeah, no, it was Andrew. And yeah, you know, I think it was a little bit tough for him. I'm not sure if he was the right guy, you know, but it seems to be a great bike. I mean, KTM definitely has a lot of momentum as a manufacturer at the moment.
You never raced for KTM, did you, when you were racing in Europe?
No, you know, I finished my career when they were really just starting to get aggressive, and you know, not only now in Europe, but in the US, boy, it's one of the best teams going, I'll tell you.
They're certainly having some success this year, certainly in the MX2 category. What can Tony Cairoli do? He's got just over 7 minutes plus 2 laps to go. Lap times are
mistake there.
Just under 150. Couldn't quite turn there. Van Horbeek knows he's there as well. I think it's just a matter of time now. Yeah, easy's on through. Fans would have seen that on the screens. We heard the crowd go up as well. He's now back in 4th position is Tony Cairoli. So that's just down to, what, 2 points now, that deficit, to the advantage of Gauthier Paulhan. So that'll be a 54-point lead for Cairoli in the championship standings. But more importantly, in terms of the overall Grand Prix, you know, those two guys are certainly going to go at it. The first 5 guys, actually, this weekend, that we have at the moment, DeSalle, De Dijker, Paulhan, Van Horbeek, and Cairoli. Maybe Nagel as an outside chance. You know, it's probably going to come down to one of those, well, 3 of those guys on the podium. But this guy here, with this potential race win, Commander Sal, with his smooth, effective, fluid riding style, certainly on this circuit, looks at home. He's kept the wheels in line, not made any mistakes from what we've seen anyway. And just like he's on a training run at the moment.
Yeah, you know, he had a good start, and the race kind of came to him. He's looking good.
Able to pick his way through the lines as well, not having to be rushed. He hasn't got anybody either side of him just to rush him in making a mistake. That's what happens when you get a good start and you capitalize on the mistake from your closest rivals. But so far, Commander Sal doing everything right in this first MX1 race. So too is this guy, fellow Belgian, Ken De Dijker, cruising around in seconds, but 8 seconds behind.
Yeah.
Ken De Dijker takes a look over the tabletop to see exactly where Commander Sal is, but I'm guessing the trees and all the other stuff there just obscuring the visibility just a little bit there for him.
Yeah, it seems like all these sand specialists are getting good at these hard tracks as well, so.
Which is bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah.
all basing themselves in Lommel in Belgium.
That's it.
Maybe there's a secret to the success.
Yeah.
Well, how did you train for the hard pack? Oh, we went to Lommel. How did you train for the sand? Went to Lommel.
Yeah. Seems to be the formula right now.
Rui Gonçalves, 999 on the Ice One Racing KTM. He's in 11th position at the moment. Just behind. Well, I think, is that a back marker just gone through there, or is he just dropping back? Because I'm not sure if he's made a mistake. Oh, 91, Mattis Caro. Okay. So Mattis Caro and Sean Simpson, David Guarneri. So they're all in a similar kind of position there, yeah. Around that sort of 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th place. Sean Simpson just ahead of them. So Simpson, Caro, Gonçalves, and Guarneri. Simpson just going past Caro on that lap. That's kind of what threw us there just a moment ago. Caro just having a stab in the corner on the STR KTM. But Rui Gonçalves jumping to the outside and runs offline. Very easy to do that, because the jump is so short, you're on the turn. And Guarneri, well, he'll accept that invite gladly, as Gonçalves just runs off track. Guarneri's a tough, solid, strong rider, just needs to make decent starts, but he's always there or thereabouts. He's in the championship 14th, but could do with just getting inside the top 10 on a regular basis. Yet to do it, other than the first moto in France a week ago. He qualified 6th the last 2 Grand Prix, so he knows he can do it. But, you know, it's like Talon Voland. He gets the race, different kind of pressures, and the reaction times on the start and that kind of thing. Everybody's up for it.
Oh, yeah, man. Racing is always different than every other situation. That's why you get out there and race. And he's definitely a good rider. He's been around quite a while. And the one thing he is definitely hard to pass as well. I see that. So I know that the guys that race with him, he's tough on them.
Tommy Searle, we just saw him dropping in the shot now. Number 100 on the CLS Monster Energy Pro Circuit, Kawasaki, as Caro just starting a bit of a freight train behind him.
Yeah.
Tommy Searle in 13th after that crash with Guarneri, so he's picked himself up, found him back on the rear wheel of the Italian, but just not been able to capitalize too good or as quickly as he would have wanted to. Right, DeSalle, mistake here.
Oh, there's that kicker.
And that's the corner where Cairoli fell, just behind here when it was a little greasy.
Wow.
Good save. He doesn't need it, it's just there in the middle of the shot. Tommy Searle and Rui Gonçalves going around the outside of it. Nice line from Searle, dives in early, gets out early.
Yeah, these guys with this track get so ruddy, they're getting really creative. I saw around the horseshoe turn, they're just really cutting on the inside now.
Tommy Searle side by side, Rui Gonçalves going to go through. Gonçalves doesn't respond and easily through in the end. Tommy Searle gets on the gas as well. Nice consistent move through that corner, carried great corner speed through there, and now he's all over the back of Davide Guarneri. Back marker moves out of the way, but Tommy Searle was almost blindsided there. Guarneri goes past the 91 of Caro, and so too does Tommy Searle. Searle just has to squeeze the brakes and turn tight to try and get that gap back down to Guarneri to a minimum. Nicely turned through, not having a double. Sets himself up nicely for turn 2.
You can't see that on TV, but boy, that's a huge double. Those guys hit that thing wide open.
And the takeoff isn't that great either.
No.
You literally have to seat bounce it just to get any kind of spring on the takeoff.
That's it.
And the same here. This is difficult. The angle on the takeoff there, not really great. But yesterday, the guys in MX1 were certainly able to get up. Too tight, too long for the MX2 guys.
Yeah,
it's not often we say that.
I saw they're trying to pull up really hard to get over that. That's tough.
So Rui Gonçalves now trying to find a way past Mattis Caro, the Latvian on the STR KTM. Looking to go up the inside, but DeSalle continues to lead. 8.3 seconds clear with counting down the clock. And Clement DeSalle, well, Cairoli goes through, so it's going to be 3 laps to go because DeSalle has just gone through, completed 18 laps of this first MX1 race. The Dijk's second, Paulin still third, 5 seconds back. 6 seconds back, actually. Cairoli fourth, just 3 seconds down on Paulin, so hasn't been able to do anything about the Frenchman ahead of him. Here's Tommy Searle, lost a lot of ground that time around to Davide Guarneri. So Van Hoorbeek fifth, Max Nagel sixth on the Honda World Motocross machine. Kevin Strybos on the Rockstar Energy Suzuki is seventh. Xavier Borg on the Ice One Racing KTM is in eighth, ahead of the TM Ritchie racing machine of Sean Simpson in ninth. And Guarneri, we saw him a moment ago just there in white on the Marchetti KTM. He's in 10th place. Mattis Caro on the STR KTM is 11th, but he's coming under attack from Rui Gonçalves. And Gonçalves, has he found a way through this time around? Well, Searle, sorry, is 11th, Caro 12th. Gonçalves goes through now in 13th. Milko Podozek, we wait for him on the 2B Yamaha to go through in 14th. Billy McKenzie dropped down to 15th on the Monster Energy Yamaha. Bobryshev, who we're looking at on screen on a Honda World Motocross racing bike, is now in 16th after making a mistake early on in the race. Dennis Ulrich is 17th. Stefano Dami is 18th. Santu Tienen and Mikola Pashinsky round out the top 20 as we go back on board with Gauthier Paulin. Seen a lot of action over this side of the circuit. Riders squaring off and running it hot. That's where Guarneri and Searle banged bars and went down early on.
It's like 2 laps to go now.
Yeah, Cairoli just coming into shot now at the end of pit lane. So it looks like Didika might be getting caught down to 4 seconds between Didika and Paulin. So yeah, 148.8 and a 146.5. So big gain from Gauthier Paulin. So there might still be a little bit of time for him to at least get back on the rear wheel and challenge the KTM of Ken Didika.
Yeah, that would be big if he got by him. That'd be a couple more points.
Yeah. There's Cairoli at the bottom of the hill. Here's Paulin at the top of the hill. So the crowd just going a little bit flat at the moment as Cairoli tours in 4th position on his Red Bull KTM. See it starting to dry out, loose rocks coming up again. So what was a nice slick racetrack with freshly watered obviously came perfect for a while, didn't it, Talonvolan? And now it's drying out. Whole different surface altogether.
Oh yeah, and boy, it is getting ruddy out there. These guys are have to be really careful.
Loose and slick, stones on the top. Traction not at a premium, shall we say.
Yeah, it's always tough at the end of the moto. You know, you're a little tired, so you just got to really try to be focused.
Simpson and Guarneri. This is Guarneri going past Simpson just a lap ago. Same move, got out early, squared it off. Simpson tried to respond, but he was always on the wrong side at the bottom of the hill.
Yeah.
Right, where's Didika? Let's have a look how far, what it looks like on the onboard camera. Just too far for us to see. Obviously, it's quite a wide angle lens off the helmet cam there. So Cairoli doing his best now to try and pick up as many points as possible. We know he's always good for a podium overall in the course of the Grand Prix, but not doing himself any favours by falling out of the lead early on in the race. And he'll just be kicking himself. Camera angle just a moment ago gave us some idea as to how steep the horseshoe is in the background, but Clément de Sale up onto the triple, turning left. Alongside the swimming pool and dropping down. It has been a bit of a coast ride for the number 25 Belgian. Hasn't put a foot wrong.
Oh,
Does prefer the hard pack riding conditions, actually.
Yeah, he's looking good. He's riding smooth all day. Looks like he's riding really smart. Looks like he's going to take this win. Just keeps it on 2 wheels. Nicely wheelies through the ruts there. Obviously, that's getting a little bit chewed up. They'll fix that before MX2 race 2. I know that. Just effortless. Doesn't showboat. Just wants to get his head down and get the job done. But at the moment, Clément de Sale looking at picking up his second race win of the year. He was 3rd and 2nd in France a week ago. He had a couple of 3rds in Brazil, a 2nd and a 5th in Portugal, 2 3rds in Bulgaria, a 3rd and an 8th in Italy at Arco di Trento. So his worst Grand Prix was actually the Netherlands with an 8th and a 5th. He's still in the championship as well. I see that, so he's not so far off of Poland. Yeah, 12 points, so he'll pull a few points back on Gauthier. 5 points, in fact, so that dropped that back down to 7. But Ken Didika, who I probably would have expected to have fade in this heat, has done a good, solid job for Red Bull KTM. Quick acknowledgement for the team there from Gauthier, from Clément de Sale as he comes over the line to take the checkered flag to win MX1 Race 1 here in Majora. Ken Didika comes over the line in 2nd. He's pleased with that. Gauthier Paulin should come through in 3rd over the line now. And Tony Cairoli, he'll be disappointed, as will the fans, in 4th place. But we know we can turn it on in Moto number 2. And my guess is he probably will as well. Just real quick, Talonvolan, your view on MX1 Race 1? Well, you know, it was a good race. It kind of came down to de Sale having the race fall in his direction, and Chiarelli just making those two mistakes, costing him. But you know, just being up in the top 5 first moto, a lot of things can change again in the second moto. So we'll have to see how it all plays out.
Yeah, you see he's disappointed as well. Talking to Andrea from Aero Helmets there, and obviously first guy to talk to him. But yeah, Tony Cairoli, he'll be disappointed with that 4th place. But Sal, coming home 7.5 seconds clear of Kenda Dyker, he will be the man with the biggest smile on his face right now. Tony Cairoli was confirmed then as the Get the Thing the Whole Shot award winner. That'll be 250 euros in his Sky Rocket, and this is how he did it. Came from about gate 7, 8, something like that. Hanging off the back of that 350 Rebel KTM. De Dyker braked early, so too did the 121 of Xavier Borg, who thought he got it covered up the inside, but Cairoli was just the guy that edged out everybody else, dropping into turn 2 as well.
That was really close.
And this is how slick it was going into that second corner on that first lap. Well, Talon Volan, thanks for joining us up here in the commentary position. Good to see you back in Europe. And yeah, we wish you all the best with the Turbis.
Paul, appreciate you having me here again. Hope to do it again next year.
No problem. Good to see you next year as well.
All right, man. Thank you.
Thank you. So De Sal then wins race 1 here in Italy. That'll put a smile on his face.
Perdita di punti, ma 3,95 contro 3,41 per Cairoli nei confronti di Polen, 3,34 per De Sal, quindi voglia ancora grande margine per il nostro Antonio, mentre naturalmente ora ci riposiamo.
Clement De Sal then wins race 1. Kenda Dyker 2nd, Gauthier Paulin 3rd. From Cairoli, Van Hoorbeek, Nagel, Strybos and Xavier Borg. They were the top 8 positions. Then it was Guarnieri, Tommy Searle, Sean Simpson, Matis Caro, Rui Gonçalves, Milko Podosek, Evgeny Bobashev and Billy McKenzie picking up 16th in the end. Then Dennis Orish, Stefano Dami, Nicola Paczynski and Santu Tianin, the top 20-point scorers.
Poi naturalmente la cerimonia di premiazione a seguire al termine della MX2 per tornare di nuovo alla pista, di nuovo al tracciato di gara con la MX1 gara 2 alle ore 15:57 pronti ad entrare nella Skybox e alle ore 16:07 lo start.
So the crowd make their way to a little bit of shade out here in Maggiora. We're getting ready to speak to our race 1 winner, which will be Clement De Sal. Here's Amy. Well, she'll be with us in a moment. Guess it's a second classification here, maybe for the points first in the championship. Tony Cairoli then will continue to lead. And no change in the top 8 positions, but Gauthier Paulin will pull a few positions back, or a few points back on Tony Cairoli after the problems that he suffered with those 2 simple falls in race 1. Right, Amy's down by the podium. Here's our winner from race 1, Clement De Sal.
Clement, after a tough time in qualifying yesterday, first race win since Qatar, that must feel good.
Yeah, finally a real good start, and was second, and I was behind Tonio, and I was feeling I was really confident, and then he made a mistake, so make it easy for me. And yeah, after I was third, and I just tried to keep my rhythm, and I knew I have a real good rhythm, and I saw it also in the lap time and the gap. So after when it was like 10 minutes to go, I could just look behind it a bit and then keep a good rhythm. And yeah, finally I get this moto since first moto in Qatar. I'm happy, and we try to have a good second race also and win the GP.
Well done, we'll see you for second race.
Good. I just would like to say again a big hi to my girlfriend, my dog, and
thanks, Clement.
So Clement De Sal then takes victory in Moto number 1 here, the first since he won a race in Qatar, first round of the season. But barely looks to have broken a sweat, certainly not out of breath. Just gives you some idea of the fitness levels of these guys. Just on a 40-minute moto, and 5 minutes later he's fresh as a daisy when he goes and talks to Amy Dargan down by the winner's circle. But it was a great ride for the Rockstar Energy Suzuki World MX1 rider. Looked in control throughout the whole moto. Second was the Rebel KTM of the big Belgian, Kenda Dyker. He's also down there waiting to speak to Amy. Here he is.
Ken, it feels like the last couple of GPs, we haven't seen you on your usual form, but you look good out there today. You look as though you found your rhythm.
Yeah, it's getting better, and the start helped really much. I think a track like this, more bumps and deep ruts, it's more my style. I think more technical. It's going better and better, but still don't feel the same like beginning of the season. So yeah, it's good we have a weekend off and we can go training even harder, so we can be on top again.
Thanks, Ken.
Yeah, despite a whole load of top 3 finishes in the early part of the season, Ken de Dijker in the last 8 motos only finishing in a podium position in a race just 1 time. So that'll be a welcome relief for him and the guys at Red Bull KTM as well. So second overall in this first moto. He'll be looking to do something similar, if not better, in moto number 2. Gauthier Paulin was third. He had a bit of a gift for that third place. Actually, he overtook 2 guys in about half a lap, especially when Cairoli went down. That was one of them. Here he is. Let's hear what he has to say. I'm guessing he's probably a little bit disappointed.
Gauthier, well done for coming in third. You were very down in ninth at the start. Were you surprised to bring it back up?
No, you know, my goal is always to catch the one on front. Actually, it was really not easy. Just because track's really tricky, so when you get out the line, there is many bumps, so you need to get the good line, and we are riding the World Championship, so pretty much all the riders who was on front was having good line. My rhythm was good. Actually, I don't have the best start ever. We keep working and looking forward for second moto, but yeah, I'm healthy. I like when there is sun like that, so really looking forward for second moto to do better.
Thanks, Gauthier.
A little bit disappointed, but already looking towards the second race. That's what riders do. They get the first race out of the way, quickly reflect, regroup, and think about relaxing, getting on with the task at hand, which will be moto number 2. Those guys will be back out on track 4 o'clock. Local time here in Italy. But third in the first moto, as we said, just a bit of a gift for Gauthier Paulin. At best, it might have been 4th, but got to be in it to win it, as they say. Gauthier Paulin, his job made a little bit easier as Tony Cairoli made 2 mistakes, the second of which this guy capitalised on. So the hustle and bustle here in Maggiora. Moving around, trying to get themselves into the paddock, trying to find a little bit of shade at the top. Here's that, went down in moto number 1. The gate dropped, Tony Cairoli, we know now, picked up the Get the Thing, the whole shot award, then a couple of laps later, lost the front end going into the off-cambered turn over on the far side of the circuit, but it was worse for Tommie and Guarnieri. As those two went at it, Guarnieri up the inside, took out Tommie. Those two would have a hard fight back through the field. Cairoli was on the charge, found a way past Kevin Strybos, crowd loved that. And that got him into second position behind Clement de Sal. Van Hoorbeek was there, the crowd went more noise as Cairoli went down again, dropped himself down to 4th place. Cairoli then found a way past Jeremy Van Hoorbeek, but by then Gauthier Paulin was ahead of him. De Sal meanwhile was leading, de Dijker was in second, Paulin had got himself into 3rd, Tony Cairoli was in 4th at this point, and de Salvo went on to win MX1 race 1, picks up 25 points and closes down on his nearest rivals in the process. So a good start to the day then for Clement de Sal. So 2 races down, MX2 and MX1. We'll be back in a moment with our live studio show on MX Live TV in about 17 minutes, where my guests are Mel Pocock, Max Nagel and Eric Gabors. Of course, I'll see you then, and we'll be back in an hour's time for MX2 race 2. So join us here in Maggiora for all the latest action a little later on today.